What do you think of love?
Of love?
Yeah.
Well, I think that we have to be careful not to confuse it with in love. That in love, Helen Fisher has recently written a book called The Anatomy of Love. It's pretty controversial. She's an anthropologist, and she's attempted to show that we have three basic biological programs. One is lust, one is attraction, and one is attachment. And that these are biologically based, and that the initial attraction usually is lust, symmetry, whatever your conception of beauty is, and that first in love has a chemical brain bath that goes with it. Even the word infatuate means shallow love and foolish love. So, but it's a great thing that we fall in love. But if you've got a lot of woundedness, I mean, what a lot of people find in this workshop is that they're love addicts, that there's such a thing as love addiction, and now all over we have Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous, because there's a tremendous addiction in falling in love. So attachment is what love is, the foundation of love, secure attachment. And that is an attunement, an empathic mutuality between a mothering source and a child. And we now know that it doesn't even have to be your biological mother. It just needs to be the same mothering source. And so once that's established good enough, then a child knows I'm lovable. And if I feel lovable, then I can give love. Now also, if we saw modeled what I call the work of love, that love is work, that you can't just take it for granted. I've got to care about listening to you and disclosing love to you, continuing to disclose that I love you. And sometimes couples get married and they just think you don't have to do this anymore. So love is an extension of the self. It's work. It's caring as much about your security as I care about my own, and being willing. I mean, I like the old-fashioned, for better or for worse, unless it's abusive. In other words, I do not encourage someone to stay in a relationship where they're getting battered or abused or whatever, but that you're committed, you're willing to go to any length to make this work out, and you'll go get help if you need to. And then I think a virtue comes out of that, and the old sense of virtue, which is like a second nature. And it's something you don't think about anymore. I mean, truly loving people, they talk about the saints as beyond the law, beyond good and evil. I mean, because why? They're lovers. You do out of love what you would have done out of duty if you didn't have love. Okay. So love is a virtue. It's the highest of the virtues, but it's something that has to be worked at. It doesn't just happen because we got married.
It has to be learned.
It has to be learned.
You're not born with it.
You're not born with it.
All right.
I mean, I think there is what the Greeks call sorge between parents and children. There's sort of a natural, but parents can treat children so bad early on that there's no love.
And I guess many people confuse love and sexuality, right?
Absolutely, because it's very clear now with the work we're doing, and I'm a fellow at the Meadows. I've been working with Dr. Patrick Carnes, who's done a lot of the research on sexual compulsivity, that sex addicts or people who are sexually compulsive really don't know anything about love. I mean, if you take cyber sex or you take pornography, it's somebody having a relationship with an image or an objectified. It's not a woman or a man, it's an objectification. It's a pair of breasts or a buttocks or a penis, but it's not a human being that you're having a relationship with. So I think there's a very big difference, and that true love will engender a deeper kind of sexuality than a person could ever imagine. At least that's been true in my own life. Okay. And this is what Alan Shore at UCLA is saying now, that especially where we have attachment trauma, where we have attachment dysfunction, and that's what my workshop's about. It's helping people to understand that you didn't get your developmental dependency needs met, so that you have an attachment disorder. In this workshop I do on post-romantic stress disorder, where once the chemical bath of in love wears off, then whatever your attachment skills, that's all you got left. And for some of us, we don't have any.